What's it like to work as an armpit sniffer or spend hours in front of drying paint and taking notes? Today I'm going to introduce you to 13 super weird professions that make good money. Stay to the end to see exactly what the chocolate engineers or pet psychologists do. Yes, pets also need psychological help. Let's get started. Diver for golf balls. Golf is not such a popular sport around the world, but in the United States, for example, it is very common. You must have noticed that there are often ponds in the fields, which are obstacles. There, golf balls are constantly dropped because of bad shots, and no one is looking for them anymore except a few people that have positioned themselves in a special niche. They dive in and collect huge quantities of golf balls from the courses and sell them for recycling. One such ball goes for about $1. Look how much this dude has collected from just one pitch. With every crooked shot, one of these divers gets richer. That's what it's like to find interesting and rewarding work, if you push the amateur courses. With the pros, there are fewer balls in the ponds. Professional bridesmaid. Every bride can hire a best friend and assistant for the special day of the wedding. One must not find out that the bridesmaid is paid, so the bride and groom require her to make up a whole story about their friendship and why she stood up into such a special role. At the same time, she has to look super close to the bride so the guests don't suspect something. The duties of a professional bridesmaid do not end with just smiling and posing for photos. She should assist the bride in every way, and even persuade her in case she gets cold feet. Ladies performing this profession share that they regularly encounter drunk brides. They have to get them in shape for the ceremony. There have been cases of brides that refuse to say yes in front of the priest, and even suicide attempts. The job of a paid bridesmaid is not easy. In the States, this type of bridesmaids can earn $5,000 per wedding, offering additional services such as speechwriting, decorating, psychological help, and so on. Professional apologizer and firer. Dealing with angry customers requires specific skills and, above all, a diligent character. Airlines in the States are the first to open up the professional apologizer position to make amends with angry customers who have missed their flight with no fault of their own because the luggage got lost. They must find a solution and reassure these kind of angry people. Other industries also rely on this type of service, and the salary of one such apologizer can easily reach $5,000 to $6,000 per month. The 2008 crisis also gave birth to another innovative position, that of professional firer. Because the news of getting fired was tough, and Financial Times demanded the layoff of longtime employees, companies hired specialists to fire in the most delicate way possible. It's still better than firing 900 people at once at the buzzer like this guy did. Comment down below if you were part of that call. All in all, this is pretty tough news that could easily destroy lives. That's why you can hire a professional to do the dirty work for you. Wife for rent. The Japanese work a lot and don't have time to engage in social activities like girlfriends, going out, having a drink at the bar, and so on. You can easily hire a girlfriend to accompany you to dinner, or to an event for $100 to $200. There are even whole agencies that offer such a service. In recent years, however, the Japanese have gone to the next level. They now hire wives who visit the homes of strangers, cook delicious dinners, sit down to talk about the problems of the day, and finally cuddle up on the couch for a movie. No mention of whether there is any continuation into the bedroom, but as we know, this type of service is banned in Japan. There have even been cases of Japanese people hiring a wife and her children for a few days to see what it's like to have a family and if it's even worth it. Bit of a messed up job if you ask me, but what can you do? It's a big world out there. Animal psychologist. In modern times, it is not only the owners who are stressed and have mental problems, they also pass it on to their pets, who increasingly suffer from depression. Dog psychologists are becoming more and more common and earn good money. I don't know exactly how a therapy goes, since pets can't talk, but apparently they have some methods of their own. Psychologists need to understand what is wrong with the dog and explain to the owners how to improve their habits so that the animal can live better. You think it's a joke, but an animal psychologist earns $100 per hour. In general, the requirements are just to like animals and have an approach to them. Education in the field is not necessary, and I have not heard of any university offering dog or cat psychology. Chocolate engineer and tester. Super complex names for such a delicious work. Perhaps many of you would give it a try, but be aware that some special skills are required. The chocolate engineer is the man who has to invent new tastes. Milk and dark chocolate are not enough. We have chocolate with hot peppers, with pizza, with popcorn, and even with hot sauce. All of these ideas come from engineers who are constantly being pushed by companies to come up with new flavors and mixes. Come to think of it, there's already a Milka with anything you can think of. Personally, I'm still waiting for Milka with beans and sausage, for example. So the chocolate engineer comes up with all sorts of flavors, and the tester tries them and tells him if they work and if they have a future at all. This position requires a more or less neutral opinion and pretty good recipes, because as we've seen, there are a lot of mixes, but someone has to buy them too. So maybe the job of the tester is even more responsible, because opening a whole new product line and marketing it with ads and such is a pretty expensive endeavor. Quickly tell me in the comments which is your favorite chocolate mix. The most creative answers get hearts. So we are in the middle. Give us a thumbs up and let's continue. Google Cyclist. There's no way you could have missed the Google Street View cars that frequently crisscross the streets in the cities. They now have boats to capture rivers and backpackers for the harder-to-reach areas. The most interesting such invention, however, remains the bicycle, which Google pays you to spin and ride around tight urban areas. However, the weight of such a bike is about 100 kilograms, which is good for burning calories and losing weight. But it is also quite heavy. That's why it's the highest paid of all Google vehicles. The only requirements are to be responsible and follow the routes, and of course, to be able to cycle. Google bicyclists tour huge parks, such as Disneyland, or properties that would be difficult to visit by car or on foot. Cleaner of cinema screens. No kidding, before the holidays we were on an IMAX and I was just wondering how they clean these huge white screens. I immediately suspected that dust and particles would ruin the resolution and contrast. It turns out that there is such a position, cleaner of cinema screens. It may look like a water brush, but it's a little different, and separately everything has to be dabbed with a special cloth. I was right though, there is dust on the screen. See the black water that falls? People doing this in America make $5,000–6,000 a month. Horsewalkers. Professional racehorses have personal horsewalkers to look after their physical condition. Don't confuse them with jockeys or coaches. These are just people who take the horses out for a ride to get exercise, not lay around the crib all day. The horsewalkers simply ride or walk beside the horse during certain hours, and thus keep it in good shape. In short, trainers map out a horse's weekly program, and the walker walks, rides, and performs it. This is a responsible job, by the way. Can you imagine riding a horse the wrong way and hitting their leg, for example? $10 million can be lost. Food stylist. Don't you get annoyed when you see some unique pictures and footage of food on TV commercials or restaurant menus, but in reality something totally different comes up? This is what the Big Mac looks like on posters, but it most often comes in this form, which can be quite visually frustrating. That's because an awful lot of tricks are used on the commercials, and so the famous food stylists. These folks prep the products and get them looking great for the shoot. And then they even help out a bit with computer programs to make them even more appealing. They use all sorts of techniques like olive oil to gloss the burger, soap for foam in beer commercials, shaving foam instead of whipped cream, and so on. Which would you rather eat, this or that? If you want to learn interesting things all the time, subscribe to the channel. Armpit sniffer. There are so many deodorants on the market with so many different scents that you wonder which one to get. But have you ever thought about who approves them and how they test them in the first place? Turns out there's a lucrative job with ever so slightly nasty elements. A test group is selected to use a product, and then a person is selected to evaluate how it sits on the skin and on the arms and how it behaves. The footage made me uncomfortable. I can imagine the dude what it's like to have some chick smell his armpit. We know that scented products stay differently on different skin types, and only after such tests a decision is made whether a product scent should go on the market. That's why the sniffers in question take notes after every single arm. Snake milker. Relax, no snakes are capable of releasing milk, or at least I haven't seen any. But then again, what does a snake milker work? We know that the venom of these reptiles has many uses in medicine. It is also a symbol of pharmacies. However, it is extracted in a special way from people. Here you need training and precautions, because one wrong or even unmeasured movement can be terribly painful, and if not taken care of, even deadly. You have to spend some time measuring the snake and then use a container to extract the venom through a safety membrane. I'm sure you've seen this sort of thing on the science channels. If everything is done properly, there should be no problem. You can easily earn $6,000–7,000 per month doing this activity. Observer of drying paint. Can you imagine what it's like to stand for hours in front of a strip of drying paint and take notes about the whole process day after day? One person certainly knows what it is, and he's been doing this for over 10 years. Meet Dr. Thomas Carlson, who never loses sight of the drying process of each new color and type of paint. Now, this may seem boring and super useless, because customers only care about the end result anyway, not how many shades it will change. However, Thomas keeps meticulous notes on how the color ranges change, how the paint reacts to different surfaces, whether its texture changes in the process, and so on. He even changes the temperature of the room and tries again day after day. I personally wouldn't last even an hour, but he loves it. Thumbs up if you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel, or if you feel like watching more interesting videos, click here. Thank you for being with me. Bye and see you again.